Electric Cafe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on the Necessaries 1982 album, their second album called Event Horizon. Today is day number 19 in my month-long focus month on the genres of new wave and all things like pretty much rock, alternative rock related, indie rock related, like dream pop and synth pop and new wave, shoegaze, even some industrial EBM and new beat music in there, and wanted to get a balance of past and present albums in all these genres, and sort of do a focus month. And this album is actually the oldest album that I chose to review in this month. It comes from 1982, and the reason why I've been wanting to check this out for a good amount of time, and it's been in my want list for quite a bit of time, but just never gotten around to listen to it. And when I was choosing albums for this focus month, I wanted to go back and sort of hear like some just off the wall sort of new wave album that I'd never heard, but I had been wanting to. And this one popped up in my want list, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is perfect. I'm a big Arthur Russell fan. I just reviewed an Arthur Russell album a couple months ago, World of Echo, and I thought this one would be a great addition to the month and to review it. So back in 19, if you want to go way back to 1974, Arthur Russell moved from Iowa to New York, and he's going to some training classical music at school, and sort of as the 70s went on, he sort of got into some disco music. He was in this band Necessaries. He flirted with some other bands and sort of did a little bit of producing, did a little bit of keyboards, did a little bit of his main instrument, which was playing the cello, and and then even some singing, which he did some singing in this. And he was in a few different bands, again doing some disco, doing some producing, doing his own stuff, just doing a lot of different things to sort of see what I imagine he was trying to see what was what would really work for making himself happy and doing music and things like that. And you can see he was all over the place with different styles of music, from new wave to folk music to ambient music to disco to, I mean, he was just all over the board. And a lot of people think this is like a new wave album, and anything that comes out of New York that has a keyboard in it in 1978, 1980, 81, 82 is going to be kind of considered new wave. But this is kind of the new wave that I sort of separate new wave, and I suppose synth pop and new wave is the reason why to separate the two. But a lot of people think of new wave like Elvis Costello and Blondie and the Cars and Talking Heads and things like that. Like that's new wave. Like when I think of new wave, I think of Depeche Mode and you know New Order and things like that. But maybe that's more synth pop. I don't know. It's you think of the new romantic period, and that definitely correlates to the new romantic side of what I would like: Depeche Mode and the Smiths and the Cure and stuff like that. Even though some of those are rock and some of those are electronic, but to a lot of like writers, people from New York at this time, like new wave is your Elvis Costello, Talking Heads, and that is more this album. In some ways, we'll check out a sample of each track here shortly. I already got a chance to hear this album earlier this week, and you'll see my scores on each sample of each album. But in a way, this kind of reminds me of like sort of REM. You know what I mean? Sort of coming out of new wave, like 1981, 82. It's got a little bit of that. It's alternative rock, but it's got some new wave moments and some other things, but other styles. But it's an interesting mix of it's an interesting look at new wave in 1982. And this was the last album by the band. They were signed to Sire Records. Obviously, after this album, they either broke up or the band or the label dropped them. I not necessarily know which, but they went on to form other different bands and got involved in other projects. But Arthur Russell left right before this album was released, and he was still featured on one of the. I think he sang two. two. I think he sang on two of the tracks, maybe a vocal on one of the other ones. You can sort of hear some of his keyboard work in there as well. But if you haven't heard this album, check out a sample of each track, see my score, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my overall thoughts on the album.
In the natural world, things get out of hand. Some days feel so right, others it hurts me. In the hands of these, I found a cutting blade. And you want atmosphere, but you can't buy rage. I see eyes looking through me, I see eyes looking through me, I see. I see eyes looking through me, I see eyes looking through me. Smacking the door with my heel, frustrated the bell doesn't ring. Crossing the street, the arcade's lights. Video games bells sing, video games bells sing, video games bells sing. I was gone but I'm back. Some things don't change. Everybody's sliding around uptown, downtown. She puts a pin in her hat. Low attitude. He was a gifted child, but now they're just both body rage. I see eyes looking through me, I see eyes looking through me, I see. I see eyes looking through me, I see eyes looking through me. Smacking the door with my heel, frustrated the bell doesn't ring. Crossing the street, the arcade's lights, video games bells sing. Smelling the rubber burning, clouds coming out of the cars, scuffing their feet through doorways. People tilt their heads up to sing, 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 people tilt their heads up to sing. She'll come back, I know, 'cause our love is more real. I tripped and fell down, but I found myself in a patch of new grass. And my face couldn't see, 'cause of all the green. And I laid on my back, I could see the sky. And my face couldn't see, 'cause of all the green. And I laid on my back, I could see the sky. He could see, I could see the sky. If my love was here, she could testify, she could feel it too. And tell me if it's true that this is more real than life itself. I tripped and fell down, but I found myself in a patch of new grass. I wonder if this time, go find her. Just didn't go for long, she'll be back, I know. I wonder if this time, just people find her. She didn't go for long, she'll be back, I know. I wonder if this time, just to go find her. She didn't go for long, she'll be back. She'll come back, I know. If my love was here, she could testify, she could feel it too. And tell me like happy launching pad for my missile forever. Like no other, it's my domicile, sanctuary, it's my habitat. Heart to heart, foot to stone, I walk the streets where I do roam forever. Rome, Paris, London, Detroit, Newark, Toronto, Managua, Tokyo. Concrete glowing in the night, filling me up with delight. And avenues I roam and I roam, but this one thing I learn and I know. This is my home. 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 that's so near to me. A-E-I-O-U, the mind it pounds. A-E-I-O-U, the vowel sound, counting words that make new meanings, like the vowels that I am speaking. A-E-I-O-U, the mind it pounds. A-E-I-O-U, the vowel sounds. Objects that you own are in my room. Pieces of words placed in one to do. obsession still remains. Europe. Honored by time, cast its trust in gold. Europe. The Adriatic Sea, canals as arteries. Detroit tonight, the sidewalk shines like the moonlight. In Detroit tonight, the sidewalk shines like the sun. Boys hand in hand go by, back to their homes in the heat. In Detroit tonight, the parking lot's like a mirror. In Detroit tonight, it's all kids from the suburbs. And I see those girls go by, it happens all the time. Boy, it's got you now. In Detroit tonight, those blue lights come back to haunt me. In Detroit tonight, I still don't know if you want me. 'Cause everything turns me on and I don't know what's still mine. In Detroit tonight, the line's not easy to follow. In Detroit tonight, I'm still awake at the window. And behind the motel, the pool's filling with leaves. Just walk away, walk away. Walk away, walk away. Without noticing. In Detroit tonight, the cars are like stars on the freeways. In Detroit tonight, where Woodward runs into daylight. Guys in their cars go past, back to their jobs on the line. In Detroit tonight, the sidewalk shines like the moonlight. In Detroit tonight, the sidewalk smells like the sun. And if I see those girls again, I think I'll go out of my mind. Boy, it's got you now. This uptown life you have started. So easy just to walk away, walk away. Walk away, walk away. Walk away, walk away. Without noticing.
Alright, so then we got a chance to check out a sample of each of the 12 tracks that make up the Event Horizon by the Necessaries, which came out in 1982. Um, this is the second time I got a chance to hear it. I did play this a few weeks ago, and then I played it to double check my scoring, and I have to be honest with you, it improved the score the second time through. This album grows on you, and it takes a few times for the album to really open up and really kind of understand it, because there are some, it seems like almost like a it's almost like a college of students getting together with a bunch of ideas, and there's a lot of directions, and they're trying to figure out who is the lead, and I mean, there's a lot of different inspirations. There's a couple different singers, there's a couple different directions, there's some ballads, there's some some more punkier songs. There's some new wave songs. There's it's interesting. It's really almost like a college album for sure, in the ideal definition of college rock. Like, this would be a college rock album, and especially for early 80s. It almost sounds like if you mixed the Romantics with a little bit of Devo, but then you have the clever kind of grooves and jangled guitars from Talking Heads, but then you gave that final product to like the guys from like Severed Heads, or some kind of like some kind of industrial producer, or unique producer like Arthur Russell, to really uh, make the album sound different and unusual. There's some really interesting recording techniques in here, and then also some really interesting sounds, and sort of like some reverb, and different clever ways of sort of doing a new wave sound at the time. Like, in some ways, it's very catching edge. Again, with the jangle guitar, the layering of the vocals in different songs, and the combination of vocals is really interesting in this album. But it's kind of like a imperfect beauty in a way. It's again, it takes a lot of a lot of listens for the sound to really open up. I could tell the album getting better and better. In some ways, I do feel like the the underground buzz on this album, and the cost that secondhand copies go for this album, because it's Arthur Russell, is kind of a little ridiculous, but it's kind of warranted. But it's of the time, with vinyl prices and things like that. But I don't know if it really lives up to the sort of level of the price that these some of these copies go to, or maybe somehow some of what people would sort of laud this album to be, like it's some fantastic unknown. Like, it's got some moments, it's got some clever songs, and it's definitely of the New York new wave period of CBGBs, and late 70s, early 80s sort of new wave music. And I'll say, in some ways, I do like it better than some of the some of the Talking Heads music, for example. But I think it opens up with a pretty strong song with Rage. It gets better with More Real, the second track. There's a few tracks Arthur shines on, and you can tell his vocals instantly recognizable. Like on track number 2 is called More Real. Good harmonies. I gave that one a 6.5. Track 3 totally sounds like the Romantics. It has that guitar sound of their popular hit, which I'm blanking on now, but I immediately thought of when I heard this track. Like No Other sounds just like the Romantics, the guitar. 4 Track number 4 is one of my favorites. Driving and Talking at the Same Time. I love the background keyboards. It's got a cool groove, got some cool guitars. It's kind of New Order-ish. The layering of the vocals is great, and such good harmonies. And Arthur's also singing on this one. I give this one a 7.25 stars. And then it goes into AEIOU, track number 5, which is a bit Gary Newman-like, or John Fox of Ultravox time. It's kind of got that raw electronic sound of the late 70s, and I gave that one a 6.5 stars. I think Sahara, track 6, is one of the better ones, even though it's an instrumental song, and I kind of wish it would have done a little bit more, but as it is, it's probably my third favorite song on the entire album. And then it goes, you flip the record and goes to track number 7 because there's 12 tracks on here. The track Europe, very interesting. It almost has the potential to be a hit. Like it's almost there. And then it goes into State of the Art, which is kind of funky and unique. And then it goes to the Finish Line, which has Arthur on singing on it, which is unmistakably Arthur as soon as you hear him. And then track number 10, Detroit Tonight, totally reminds me of Lou Reed. Like it's sort of the ballad on the album along with the last track, Paceways. But it reminds me so much of Lou Reed. But it's my favorite track on the album. I think it's the most uh, successful, tightest song, even though it's a ballad. It's just kind of a clever song, and it's very of that time. It kind of gives me that that feeling of being in high school. If I was in high school in 1982 and I heard this track, like it would totally remind me of like high school days. Like it maybe it's because it has Detroit Tonight in it. It kind of gives you that feeling of being young and sort of on the streets and listening to music and stuff like that and seeing what's going on and out and about in the town and wherever you're in. But it's a great song. I gave it 7.5 stars. My favorite song. And then it goes into track number 11, which is kind of an interesting track because it's very upbeat. Almost sounds like B-52s or something. It's just like it's running away, and then it goes back to another ballad. And that Paceways, the last track, is a good song too. It's 6.25 stars. But I don't think any song on here is really like the one or the track or the one that you go back to or a sign of, oh, they should have stayed together. Like it sounds like a different kind of music students sort of getting together and making a new wave album for the time. It sounds like there's some very talented individuals in this album. So certainly talented members of the band, including Arthur and the other guys. It seems like one guy's has an interesting voice and one has an interesting guitar playing. Also, Arthur adds some interesting, his own interesting additions to the album. And then there's some creative sort of folky sounding stuff and creative post production work and recording techniques and stuff like that. It's just a very clever album that kind of grows on you, but it's not going to blow you out of the water like this is some unknown, overlooked, should have been widely popular album. It's a college album for sure. It almost reminds me of like if like the music, if you put REM and you put them into a new wave period of like 1979, like this is what it could sound like, just minus Michael Stipe. But it kind of gives me that sort of like college radio kind of alternative rock for the time kind of sound, and then you're throwing a little bit of cleverness with the recording techniques and layering of the vocals and certain sounds here and there, and it kind of gives you that sort of new wave feel. But really interesting album. But it grew on me. At first, I gave it a 60 out of 100, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's a good album, but it doesn't have any." But then I listened to it a second time, and there was quite a few tracks that each one of them jumped up like half a star to almost a full star, and it sort of started opening up and started becoming a little bit more not only recognizable because I heard it again, but it started to open up and sort of breathe a little bit. And by doing that, I jumped up a whole 7 extra points, up to a 67 out of 100. Now, do I think it could pull up to, another 3 points, another 7 points up to like in the very good range? It might. Like with a lot of listens. I would imagine if I heard this in 1982 and sort of, listened to it here and there throughout the last 44 years, I probably think it was a very good album for sure. I'm still kind of getting into it and hearing it for the second time. Does it open up anymore? I think it has the possibility to get even better in some ways. It's an interesting album for sure. There's a lot of people that you would recommend this album to, like fans of CBGBs and New Wave and not your New Order again, not your Depeche Mode. This is your Talking Heads. This is your Devo. This is your Cars. This is your Elvis Costello. This is your Wire. This is your Nick Cave. This is your Romantics. This is that kind of almost new wave to where like you would sort of recommend it to people that sort of are coming out of punk and sort of listening to some post punk like Television would be a good example or yeah, maybe Wire or something like that or Devo. Yeah, it's just if you're into those bands, the late '70s new wave, I would definitely recommend this album. And if you're a fan of Arthur Russell, yeah, that's how I got a chance to want to check it out. Not only because it's new wave, but I really impressed by Arthur Russell over the years. I've been listening to him, and I've been meaning to check this out. And I'm glad I did get a chance to check it out. Will I go buy a copy? Probably not. Definitely not for the prices that it costs to get a copy. But if I saw a used CD copy for like $5 or $10, I might buy it. But it's an interesting listen. It's a very interesting listen. Not too often I get kind of stumped or hard to gauge whether this is a really good album. Is this ahead of the time? Is it catchy? Like it's kind of questioning all my my opinions on what it is. On each song. It's like there's some kind of like mad genius in there, and that could be Arthur Russell, his background there. But it sounds like there's a few interesting uh, very talented individuals that sort of came together to collect this sound from everybody. It almost sounds like again you have like okay, this guy's got interesting guitar work. Let's bring him in. He's got it's almost like they pick and choose like who is going to be on this album and sort of okay, this is how off how different can we match this guitar player with this drummer? How different can we match our ideas with what we're going to do with the production? How different can we record things to what they originally sound like? It was just like it's almost like an art experiment of some sort. Just really interesting album. But yeah, I give it a 67 out of 100. I think it's a good on the high side of a good album, verging on very good. I think if you heard this for another 5 years, 10 years, and kept playing it, and it would open itself up, and I think it would become a very good album. But I'm curious to know your thoughts of it. Have you heard this album, or if not, what did you think of the album? But still not sure whether I'm going to post the whole song in there. Probably will because it's only like 40 minutes. If it was like 60 minutes or 55 or something, maybe I wouldn't. But I would like you guys to if you're just kind of catching this and you didn't really hear the tracks or you kind of skimmed through to see my overall thoughts. I'm definitely gonna put all the full song in there so you guys can get a chance to check it out and see what your thoughts are. Cause I'm curious to know your thoughts on the album. So yeah, let me know what you think of the album and if you heard this album before. And yeah, my favorite three tracks: Detroit Tonight, Driving and Talking at the Same Time, and probably Sahara or there's a lot of other ones that are fighting for third place. The Finish Line, State of the Art, Europe, AIOU, More Real. Those five are all right around 6.5 to 6.75. Just a lot of good songs. Nothing in here is less than pretty good. There's nothing that's okay or there's some good stuff in here. And even if it sounds like a knockoff, like my least favorite track is called Like No Other, totally sounds like Romantics. It's still pretty good. I'm not gonna knock it because it sounds like something else from 45 years ago. Like I'm down with that. I like stuff that sounds like somebody else. So I just when describing it and critiquing things and sort of reviewing things, of course, you're always gonna kind of compare things to it, and that's why I kind of compared it to Romantics because the guitar sounds just like it. Um, God, I can't think of the Romantic song. What You Like or something like that. All I can see is his mouth in the video. The Romantics guy. What I Like About You. Yeah, that's it. Crazy. Anyway, so yeah, 67 out of 100. Really, really cool and interesting album though. Just doesn't quite have the knockout tracks or the uh, I don't know, like the I don't think it quite has like the knockout obvious tracks, but it doesn't quite have the avant-garde stuff. Like there's some avant-garde production in here and avant-garde sort of playing of some of the poppier normal alternative rock instruments, but it doesn't really have like the something that you're gonna dive deep into and just have some euphoric moment or some aha moment of, oh, this is amazing. Like it's just kind of alternative rock, like done by a bunch of students that are probably way too talented to make basic alternative rock music. Like they're like Arthur Russell. I mean, he's classically trained, and here he's doing some poppy vocals and some production here and there, and playing with some echo. Like that's probably his contribution to this. And so he's obviously in some ways like uh, way too talented to be on an alternative rock. But that's kind of what the sound is. It's like you've taken some nerdy kind of college studying musical theory students and gave them some guitars and was like, here, let's make a new wave album. Very interesting album. But yeah, 67 out of 100. All right, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you on day number 20.
Electric Cafe.